But we were asked a question just now. Do you think by Manchester City spending the money that they do and Liverpool now bringing in Nunez, a very, very good player, do you think they're pulling away from the rest of the Premier League? Like, is it becoming a straight two-horse race as it has been for the last couple of seasons?
I think there's definitely an argument that you can put your case forward that they are, and it's down to other clubs. It's down to Chelsea. It's down to Spurs, to Arsenal, to these clubs to really make a push for it. And I think it's going to cost a lot of money. I don't know how much, 250 million at least, to get them even competing close to Liverpool and Manchester City. They've dominated for the last few years, and if it carries on and they keep signing players like they do, I think it's going to be this way for the next few years to come.
It's different stratospheres though, isn't it? Manchester City and Liverpool are shopping at Harrods. Tottenham, Manchester United are shopping at Sainsbury's. You know, Tottenham are signing Jed Spence, good player, lots of potential.
So where are Arsenal shopping then?
Well, Lidl.
Nah,
but you've got Jed. You've got
the
Jed.
cheek. Lidl.
I like Lidl.
So do I.
Good bakery.
Jed Spence is a young player with plenty of promise, but he isn't the finished article like Erling Haaland is, and as Terap has just told us, Nunez, he thinks he's one of the best strikers in the world. It's very difficult to see that gap between Liverpool and Manchester City and the rest getting smaller.
But I think Chelsea can bridge that gap, and the only reason I say that is because listen, I was one of them at the start of last season thinking that they could win the league. I thought Lukaku was the missing piece of the jigsaw, but now you start looking at, they've lost Rudiger, who was their best defender. I think Christensen's going. They can't get a tune out of Lukaku. I don't know what's going to happen with him. We're still waiting for him to kind of show that form. So they're going to have to bring a 4 or 5 in. But I still think with the money that they've got, if they spend money the same way that they have done, I don't think
they will spend the same way they have done, though. It's almost impossible that Todd Bowley is going to be the same type of owner as Roman Abramovich, where money was no object.
No.
I mean, it's unknown.
I think he'll run it more like a business.
It's unknown at the moment, isn't it? The way they're going to run it, what they're going to do. Are they going to sack managers all the time like they was? I don't think they will. I can't see that. But Daz, let me ask you then. Let me bring you into it, because we were speaking a little while ago about Newcastle. Now, I said they've got to be aiming really for top 7. But is this a club, if they manage to get into Europe this season, or the season coming, is this a club that could bridge the gap eventually?
Eventually. I mean, they are still miles, like light years behind the top 2. But if they get into Europe, if they keep making strides forward, like say for instance this season coming, if they finish in Europe, the Europa League spots, all of a sudden you start to go, okay, they're going to invest more money because they're back in Europe. So I think they're going to be a problem. But I just think even with the kind of money that they've got, Newcastle, the gap between them and City and Liverpool, because for Newcastle to do that, they're going to have to bypass a lot of very good teams. Arsenal, United, Tottenham. They've got to get past Leicester, teams that they've got to get above them yet before. But if they get into Europe, I think they can cause a problem.
I think financially they're capable, but like we said, Newcastle have to finish in Europe at least to then be able to sign bigger players. Then they have to finish in the top 4 to be able to sign bigger players and superstar kind of players. So that's a long way off. Crookie, Manchester United, I mean, how much money have they got to spend to not just to bridge a gap to top 4, but to get anywhere near
4.5 billion?
Well, they've already spent that, haven't they? It hasn't done much good. Listen, I think it's interesting, Newcastle, because when the Saudis took over, everybody was saying, well, that's it. They're going to be the new Manchester City. They're going to sign Neymar. They're going to get Antonio Conte as their manager. Maybe Jose Mourinho can be tempted away from Roma. I don't think that's the way Newcastle can do it at all. And you look at the signings they've made. Obviously, Kieran Trippier, an experienced international, not a superstar. Yeah. I think Guimaraes, that they feel might have the potential to be a superstar. They're really excited by him. Dan Burn, Matt Targett, solid Premier League campaigners. I don't think the owners are going to aim overnight to turn Newcastle from an up-and-coming Premier League team, which they believe they are now, to suddenly challenge for the top 4, because they're realistic. Look what Everton have done. Everton have spent so much money and they're so far removed from being European contenders. It's unbelievable.
I think the difference is, particularly if we talk about Guimaraes, he's potentially, like you said, going to turn into a superstar. And I think previously other clubs would come in and be able to entice him away. I'm not so sure anymore. I think he'll be part of the project. If they keep creeping up the league, I think he'll be a big part to play. So now I think financially and stability-wise, they're able to keep potential superstars and turn them into superstars, which will attract others. So it's
they're
still
able to get Sven Botman as well ahead of AC Milan potentially. That's
exactly.
a big statement.
It's still a long way off. I understand that. I agree with you, Dad. It's a long way off. But that could be a club that could cause problems in the future.
Yeah, they could. And look, going back to Liverpool and them spending the money on Darwin Núñez, Bobby Firmino, Roberto Firmino. We know almost like would you say he's a Liverpool legend?
No.
I don't know.
Well, with Origi's one, he's got to be one, isn't he?
But Origi scored
he's won at the club, though.
in the Champions League final.
Well,
that's earned him legendary status, hasn't it?
Okay, well, for Roberto Firmino and Liverpool fans, I mean, you could pick up the phone and get in touch 03717 22 33 44. But what happens to him? Because it almost like it was them three talking. It was them three: Salah, Mane, Firmino.
Yeah.
Jota come in and upset that a little bit. We know obviously Luis Diaz came in. Now he looks like it's now Diaz, Mane, and Salah are the front three.
Yeah.
If they're now bringing in Darwin Núñez, what happens to Bobby Firmino? Does he stay?
I think it's down to himself. I think if he wants to stay, not so much fight for his place, because he'll know what role he has at the football club. I think he only played 20 odd Premier League games this season, so he was very much more so a cup player. If he wants to stay and be part of it still, similar to James Milner, I think I'm believing he took a huge pay cut, not so much huge, but a pay cut to stay and be part of it. I think it's down to what he wants to do. He's not going to be one of the main front three again, in my opinion, but I think he'll still have an important role at the football club, whether it's being there, as he seems to be well liked as well and well respected. So if he wants to go and play football, then maybe back to his homeland. I don't know, Crookie.
Is it a lack of ambition if Firmino stays now? Because obviously Núñez will be ahead of him in the pecking order. Salah's ahead of him in the pecking order.
Jota's ahead of him
in the pecking order.
Not so much ambition, I don't think. I mean, what is he? Low 30s, maybe just turned 30. I think James Milner obviously is a little bit older, and I get that. But if he feels he's still got a place and he still could fight for his place, he still feels he's confident enough to do that, I don't see why he doesn't stay for another year and try it and give it another go. Because he was a bit player really, but he wasn't out of the cold completely. He still played quite a few games this season, and when you're competing with trophies, you need a full squad of talent, and he is clearly a talented football player. So not so much a lack of ambition when you're staying at a club like Liverpool, I don't think.
That's always the argument, and I think that is quite a difficult one, and I'm sure Origi found the same thing. Exactly right. And Gabriel Jesus is probably going for it now about his future.
Yeah.
Is that you're at a club that are competing for every single trophy there is out there. We just saw Liverpool play a maximum amount of games that you can play in any one season. So to leave all that to go to a lesser team, I know you're going to be playing more games, but it must be a difficult decision for Gabriel Jesus, surely, at Manchester City.
You want to be part of the highs and the glory, whether you're playing half the games or all the games. You still want to be there. Like you said, Origi's a prime example. He was a bit part player, but as you said, he's gone down legendary status for some of the things he's done for Liverpool. And I think Firmino would go down as a legend for Liverpool, whether he stays or goes.
I think he's more of a cult hero, Firmino.
What, an Origi legend?
Because he scored a legendary goal.
So, again, I just thought saying, him coming in, Darwin Núñez, are we expecting Salah or Mane, one of them, to go this summer?
Mane goes to Bayern Munich. Yeah. It's just a case of
getting the numbers right. And yeah.
You think so, yeah? And it's done. You don't think Liverpool going into next season with all of them still there?
No, because they've already signed Diaz, they've signed Núñez, they've got Salah, they've got Jota. They can afford to let Sadio Mane go. And I know a lot of Liverpool fans don't want him to go, but I think that the signing of Núñez is basically planning for his departure. So
would you say he's a Liverpool legend?
Yes, I probably would.
I think a lot of them would go down with a legendary status in the fact that they've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League, like the first time they won the Premier League, and all the players that were hugely important. You know, legendary status, I know it gets brandished around a lot, but they've done so much for that football club. So I think Mane for sure will do. Salah will do as well. Like
Jimmy Traore?
I know he was part of the Champions League winning side. I know that. So I think more of a cult hero, Jimmy Traore.
Is he the worst player to win the Champions League of all time?
That's arguably the most disrespectful question
I played with
I've
Jimmy
ever
Traore
heard.
at Charlton. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah. Is he the worst player to ever win the Champions League?
I can't say that, no. I don't think so.
That's an awful question.
That's horrible.
He was
won the Champions League.
He was a nice guy, wasn't he?
Very nice guy.
I think they'll miss Mane. Not only just like because he looks like a great guy. I don't know him personally, but he looks like in and around the dressing room.
Yeah.
He'd be a fantastic teammate. he never seems to give off any problems. He scores goals in big games. He's always there. I know I think it was not last season, just gone the season before. He maybe went for a bit of a down patch, but he's always carried that goal through it. And for me, I think Liverpool, whoever they bring in, they're going to miss him.
Of course they are. You're going to miss those numbers, but it depends. Nunez might come in and really produce the same kind of numbers. We don't know yet. They always sign a gem. They always do. Jurgen Klopp always knows how to handle these players, these superstar players, and I've no doubt he'll handle Darwin Nunez again. So Mane will be a huge miss if he does decide to walk away, but we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. He might just want another challenge. We don't know.
That's what I think. That's the
crux of it. All right. Well, more transfer gossip next from the rumour king, Mr. Alex Crook. This is Darren Boot Room on talkSPORT.